Well, the xGModel, expected goals model, tells us that the expected value, probabilistic value of a goal going in from any different position is plus or minus 30%. So regardless of what the probability is that you're going to score from a certain position, you can go up 30% and down 30% from there. And given the fact that these values have exponential value, these events have exponential value, you're talking about a massive amount of luck. Now, we like to start off these discussions with asking or polling these players, our players, how much luck you think is involved in the game, right? And you get from like 90% luck, it's completely random, to people saying it's 5% luck. It's all skill, it's all strategy, right? That's just not the case, right? So plus or minus 30% gives us a swing either way of 60 to 67%, right? And allowing for these exponential events. Now, beyond that, you have goal distribution. So Leicester City here would have been expected to win a much lower percentage of their goals, given the total amount of goals or net goals, total amount of goals they scored above the goals allowed. They should be down here. But their win percentage in the year that they won, I think it was 2014, 2015, the year that they won the EPL, their win percentage was way up there. So they won a lot of games 1-0, and they held on defensively. They changed their profile in the middle of games to manage games, right? And it wasn't so much about scoring or outscoring their opponents, because they weren't expected to win that many games given their goal distribution. Again, luck can have a massive, massive effect, especially over the course of an entire season. Now, these win percentages match up with the expected goal modeling and the expected goal simulators. So we were able to prove out what this model looks like, what these formulas look like in real application, right? And so you can kind of measure from that the role that luck played. And for instance, in 2022, Leicester City, on 16 less net goals than the year that they won the Premiership, was relegated. So what we use is a xGSimulator, right? Compare that to the win percentage formula that we know is pretty much a rough model, right? And so what you do is you take the expected goal value of all the opportunities of both teams and you aggregate them. And then you run it through a simulator which will compare that pattern of expected goals and expected chances against 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 games. And it will simulate how you should play how you'll play over a season, the percentage of wins over a season, right? And these are probabilities, so it's a distribution, right? So, the win percentage is at the highest point of the distribution, and then the rest are just outliers within the standard deviation. And just by way of example here, right, we have, I believe it's actual points per game, net, right, and expected points per game, XG, net XG, right? And so in this season of 2008, Columbus had a high net XG. We would expect them to score a lot of points, right? But they didn't score a lot of points. They're all the way over there on the right. So it's a good team that's being unlucky. The next year, under the same performance, luck having a tendency to, probabilities having a tendency to even themselves out over time, the next year they won the league because they recaptured some of the unluckiness. I mean, they were lucky, and then some to balance all this out. So they were good and lucky, as opposed to good and unlucky the very next year. So this is an xGSimulator. So what is xG? xG maps the probability of a goal given the position from where the shot was taken from. So the formula looks something like that. And then this is an xGSimulator. Again, what it does is it takes all the values, aggregates all the values from those plotted arcs from the previous screen and aggregates them and then compares those expected results against thousands and thousands and thousands of games. So it's a way of washing out the luck because it compares the xG profile of two different teams playing each other and then compares that to tens of thousands of similar games and then calculates the win probability. So here you have a team that has 10 or so chances, most of which are less than 5%, less than 2%, a couple decent chances of 20%, right? Versus another team that had 40% chances, 4/10 of a goal. And you see, once you hit the calculate button, that those distributions are pretty much equal. You expect these teams to tie. And then, so another classic example is being able to tell how close a game is. So this game was 6-2, right? But it was very lucky that Man United scored 3 goals early on, right? And the game was more like 4-2 or 5-2. And the xG map, though, which is how xG progresses over time during the game, tells an even more detailed story, right? And we can see how, for the most part, while the game was 4-2 in the first half, it should have been pretty much tied. Maybe Manchester United should have a goal differential, right? And then later on in the second half, it separates. So that'll give you some kind of idea of how we're modeling our game theory, how we're using xG and xG simulators to calculate win probabilities, and to really delve into the formula to try and come up with a game theory and a game model on how to respond to different scenarios.